You're listening to the home of cool, irreverent, and entertaining talk, right here on LA Talk Radio. You're listening to The Art of Love with your host, Lucia, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to The Art of Love. My name is Lucia. I'm your host and a dating and relationship expert, and I'm here to entertain, educate, and enlighten you about love, dating, and relationships, take your live calls, answer your emails, and speak to authors of books which I find fascinating. And today I have probably one of the greatest guests I will ever have, if not the greatest guest. Probably one of the greatest women in the world. And you'll find out when I tell you the name of her book, which is How to Get Him to Put That Ring on Your Finger in 365 Days or Less. All right. So, ladies, in 1 year or less, we are going to be engaged. Woohoo! So we're going to find out how to do that. I'm going to bring on this wonderful woman. Hey, Glenda, welcome to the show.
Hi, Lucia. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing just great, and I'm so happy to be here, so I want to thank you for having me.
Oh, trust me, the pleasure is all mine. Glenda is the founder and CEO of Pink Kiss Publishing. She's an entrepreneur, educator, and creative consultant, as well as the host of the Real Talk internet radio show, the G-Spot, on Blog Talk Radio. She's the author of I Need Therapy, and, of course, the book we'll be discussing today. She has been married 5 times and been proposed to a record 18 times. And that's why she is one of the greatest women ever to walk the face of the earth.
Well, actually, Lucia, it's 19 times that I've been proposed to now, because my sweetie just proposed to me a couple of months ago.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Hopefully this will be the last and final time.
I think you should go for a record 20 times. Make it a nice round number.
I don't think so. I don't think so. At around the 3rd marriage, it got to be a joke, because it was like, okay, what are you trying to do? You're trying to beat, I think it's Elizabeth Taylor, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it again. But, here I am again. And like I said, this will be my 6th marriage, and hopefully the final time.
I wonder, though, if, anyone has had more than 19 marriage proposals. I mean, there's no way of knowing. That's a lot.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really
we don't. Yeah, how do we know? If anyone has, please call in.
I don't know. I need to check into that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a record.
Yeah, you could get the Guinness Book of World Record. Yeah.
But, it's a learning process. It is a learning process. So,
yeah.
Everything that I've been through over the years is compiled in my books. So. That's
right. That's why we're discussing it here today. Have you heard of the courtesan that was alive at the turn of the previous century, La Belle Otero?
I don't recall.
You don't recall? Sound like you're on the witness stand. No. Because she actually, you've had, 19 proposals. She actually trumped you a bit because she had...
Oh, really?
Yeah, well... Hers is a little bit different. She actually had 7 prominent men commit suicide over her.
Oh, okay. Well, I can assure you that all of my exes are still alive.
Okay.
They're still alive. No, I don't think I want to touch that one, though.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny, because when I first heard that, part of my ego was like, well, damn, that'd be something to brag about. Like, wow, 7 guys killed themselves over me.
I know, they killed them.
I'm so good. They couldn't live without me.
That would be something to say, huh? That would be something to say. You're right.
Right, exactly. So, but you have the bragging rights for the proposals, so I'm so envious. How the heck did you get all these proposals?
Well, Well, let me just say that it's a story, of course.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I want to start off. I just want to start off by saying that I had my first real relationship when I was 19 years old. That was my first intimate relationship with a man. I got married for the first time at the age of 21, and I'm 45 now. So it's just been a process, I guess before I actually began dating or getting into relationships, and I wanted to do my homework. Mm-hmm. I used to talk to a lot of guys. I mean, I used to hang out when I was in the military. I would hang out with the guys to kind of see what they were missing in their relationships and, what complaints they had about their women and their wives. And I just took note of that. Everything that they were telling me, I was taking note of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And so these proposals now, were they like all actual, like real proposals? Like, will you marry me, or was some?
Yes, this was not fake. Just being in a relationship or just having a conversation and saying, hey, let's get married. It wasn't just a conversation about it. These were all actual proposals with the rings, and yeah. And of those proposals, I guess I've accepted 6 of them. So.
Wow. And then how long did it usually take to get a proposal? What was the average time? Have you thought about that?
The average time was roughly about, normally the guys that, all of these were not people that I was in relationships with. Some of them were just really close friends who felt like, okay, hey, you're the person that I really want to be with. I really want to spend the rest of my life with you. Like I said, most of them were just close friends. But, other guys that I was involved with, I would say that they started talking about marriage somewhere within the 3 to 6 month period. And, and I've been with guys who would say to me that they never thought they wanted to get married again, or they never thought they wanted to get married at all. And then it's like they met me and you are everything that I'm looking for, everything that I want in my life, and this is what I want to do.
Wow. So. I need to come follow you around.
And you know what? I tried to put a lot of detail into my book, and I tried to simplify it, make it real easy for anybody to understand it. So.
Right. Okay, now you said you were in the armed forces. How long were you in there?
I was in the Army for about 5.5 years, about 5 years.
And because I have a theory here, did most of your proposals come while you were in the Army?
No. Oh. Actually, 3 of them came from when I was in the Army. And like I said, that was over a 5-year period.
Oh, okay. Actually, I was in the Army, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. How long were you in?
Well, I was in the Army Reserve, and I was very young. I was 18 to 20, so not very long.
Right. And that was my thing. I was really young.
Yeah, so I thought maybe that, because you had so many men around you, I thought maybe that's why she got all those proposals, but that was my theory, but obviously it was wrong.
So at the time, like I said, at the time, actually I married the first year I went into the military. So he and I were married for about 4 years, so, it was one of those things.
Yeah, well, you were very young. What was the length of your longest marriage?
The longest was 5 years. The shortest was 9 months.
And then,
yeah.
So what's the biggest lesson you've learned by having been married 5 times? Well,
I would say that the biggest lesson is that you really have to do your homework and, learn a person's true character. And, sometimes, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to learn a person's true character. So I'm really big into the honesty and integrity. And so, like I said, you just really have to just learn to make better choices. And, your selection process has to be, at a point where, you make sure you learn everything up front initially. Before you commit to the relationship in marriage.
Right. Do you believe in playing games?
No. Okay. I do not. Uh-huh. Not at all.
And so this last guy, because I know you wrote in your book that this is the best relationship you've ever had. How long have you been dating?
Yes. He and I have been together now 14 months. Yes. So we're just kind of taking it slow. He did propose. Actually, he missed the 365 days by 1 day. So he proposed at 366 days.
Well, it's a leap year. Make it a leap year.
Right.
And so why is this the best relationship you've been in?
Well, because I know myself more now. And I think, okay, I divorced my fifth ex about 5 years ago. And during that period, I just took some time to kind of like get to know me. And I think that's really important, is that women need to know themselves before you can go out there and determine what you want in your life. You have to know you. You have to know what you want, and a lot of women don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this guy is, so you thought for over the last 5 years before you met him, you thought, okay, this is what I want. And so then when he came along, you knew that he was what you wanted.
Absolutely. When I met him, or I knew him for a while. It's like we worked in the same, for the same company. We never said anything to each other. We would see each other occasionally. We would speak. We did that for about 5 years. And later, after we no longer worked for the same company, he found me on one of my internet networking sites. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
we hooked up from there. And so, like I said, for me, he's everything that I wanted in a partner. The communication is there. Pretty much every aspect of our relationship is good. Not to say that we don't have problems, because we do.
Mm-hmm.
But you both have to be committed,
right,
to to work through it and to resolve any conflict.
So then, how does a woman know how long should a woman stay to see if the guy has the qualities that she's looking for? Because women tend to stay too long in situations.
I do agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you read it in the book that, first of all, the thing I recommend is that, women kind of, make a list. Make a list of all the qualities that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Once you make the list, just kind of do. I've got so much going on right now. Once you make your list, just kind of do a process. You have to know what you want, and
have your non-negotiables, your top non-negotiables.
I'm losing my train of thought.
Yeah,
here.
Where are you? Get back here.
Right.
She's thinking about her proposal.
If you have deal breakers, you have to be non-flexible about those deal breakers.
Yeah.
So you have to know what you want in your life, and then pursue it from there.
Okay, so then as soon as you see a deal breaker, basically you're saying get out of there.
That's me. That's a personal thing with me, because I normally find that if the deal breaker is there somewhere along the line, it's going to be a problem later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's going to come up again.
I know. Now, you say in the book that you've never met a man who wouldn't commit?
I have not. I have never met a man who was afraid of commitment, ever.
So then why?
Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, how come all the rest of us are all meeting men that won't commit?
You know what? I don't know. I don't understand that, because I hear it a lot too, but I've never found it.
What?
Really, honestly, I've never found a man who was afraid of commitment. Really, I mean, I have friends who have been engaged to their boyfriends or their men for years,
mm-hmm.
and they're ready to get married,
mm-hmm.
and he refuses to. He's just not ready, and he does say he's not ready. He's not ready. He's not ready.
Mm.
So I feel like I don't know what makes some men drag their feet, and sometimes a guy can give you a ring as a method of just kind of keep you holding on,
right,
in hopes that, just to pacify you.
Right. That's why you suggest then asking for a ring. I mean, not asking, but you have to get a ring and a date? A wedding date?
No. Because, you don't really have to get a date.
Mm.
I'm just going to use me, for example. I did get the proposal, and we're talking about a date. We haven't decided. There are some other things that we're working on and we're working out, but, that can come. But as long as you see you're working towards a date,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because as you said, yeah, a lot of women get the ring, but then there's no date in the forecast.
And, and sometimes guys will do that because they know exactly what you're looking for, so they're just like, okay, well, I'm going to give her this ring and hope to shut her up, just to pacify her, to buy me some time.
Yes.
And then, sometimes he may never have any intention at all on actually marrying her.
Right. So don't fall for that trick, ladies.
No, not. Definitely don't fall for that one.
Why do you think that most women are single when they don't want to be?
That's a very, very good question. That could be a number of things. It could be a number of issues,
Yeah. Okay. The question is too general. Sorry. Okay. Let me.
It is.
I know.
It's very broad. I mean, that could be anything.
Right. Okay. How about this? What do you think is the number one mistake that women make with men?
Okay. The number one mistake. Now, I feel that the number one mistake that women make with men is that when they initially meet a man, they start revealing too much too soon. When you get into a relationship, they're already thinking. When you meet someone that you like or that you're interested in, you're already thinking about a future with that person.
Right.
So, and I know it happens all the time because I listen to my girlfriends talk, and it's like, okay, I met this guy at the club. He's wonderful. He's this. He has this type of job. Men are always going to be on their best behavior when you first meet them, of course. So it's like women start romanticizing too quickly. It's like, in a lot of cases, you're already thinking about, a proposal.
Right.
Or, the name of your first child,
Right.
And it happens a lot.
Exactly. So then you would probably recommend, like, until 3 months go by, don't even think about what's going on in the future with you two.
Right.
Because then that's when the real person comes out eventually, slowly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say for the first, for at least the first 6 months or so, just kind of just look at it. And, around the 3 to 6 month period, that is normally when the true person starts to reveal. He'll start to reveal himself, who he really is. And another thing that women don't do is that they'll pick and choose the things that they want to hear that he's telling them. Listen to everything that he tells you. And when he tells you who he really is, believe him. And a lot of times we don't. We start making excuses. We justify, why this happened. We make excuses, and we shouldn't.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Now, so do you, I know what you're probably going to say to this, but let me ask you anyway. Do you think that chasing men works?
Well, it all depends on what you mean by chasing. Honestly, it all depends on what you mean by chasing him.
Trying to make the relationship happen, calling all the time, texting, emailing, asking him out.
All the time. Yes, I do believe that. I feel that you should kind of like give a man an opportunity to want you. If he wants you, he'll come to you. Mm-hmm. So, it's okay to pick up the phone every once in a while, after a day. Hey, how are you? Just call and check on you, see how you're doing. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. But when you start texting 3, 4, 5 times a day and he doesn't respond and it just makes you just go at it more aggressively, I think you ought to back off a little bit and give him some space.
Right. Now, what about a lot of women think, well, if I act like a wife, if I do his laundry and his cooking, his cleaning and all that BS, then he'll see that I'm great wife material and he'll want to marry me. What do you think about that?
That doesn't work.
Right.
At all. It's a good thing to show him that you do have those qualities and that you can take care of him. And, if you just don't make it totally, about that. Don't just put yourself out there where you're doing everything and he's doing nothing. So, I cook for my man. I clean for him. There are some things that I do for him to show him that I appreciate him. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he has to be giving me back what I'm giving him.
But did you start cooking and cleaning before you were in a relationship, or?
No. Only after we were in a relationship. And that's another thing. Some women don't know the difference between being in a relationship and just dating.
Right.
They feel like just because a guy spends time with them, maybe even sleep with them, take them out or whatever, they look at it as, okay, I'm in a relationship, when actually they're not. If you ask the guy from his perspective, if he doesn't come to you and say, hey, I want to be committed to you. I don't want us to see other people. I want it to be just you and I. If he doesn't come to you and say that, you're not in a relationship. Yes, he's going to see you. He's going to sleep with you. He's going to take advantage of all the benefits you're giving him, but it doesn't mean he wants a relationship with you.
So then you suggest that the woman wait until the guy actually says that, or do you think that she should ask or try to prompt him?
No. I mean, I wouldn't ask. Me personally, I wouldn't ask. I mean, you can tell him how you feel. And when you're getting to know a man, you should tell him, hey, look, I'm interested in having an exclusive relationship. Get the feedback from him. Let him listen to him. See what he says. If he tells you, I'm not ready for a commitment right now, don't listen to it and believe him for what he says, because he's not ready. Even if you start doing the things like you just discussed a few minutes ago, if you start doing the cooking and the cleaning, he's already told you he's not interested in a relationship. Doesn't mean he's not going to change his mind. Doesn't mean that, the more he's with you, he's not going to want to be with you more. He could possibly change his mind. But when he tells you he's not ready or he doesn't want it, believe that. Don't just take yourself off the market and say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm not going to date anybody else or talk to anybody else because I'm concentrating so hard on trying to build a relationship with this person when he's already told you he's not interested.
So then do you think...
But, a guy will take advantage. If you want to cook for him and clean for him and pay some of his bills, he'll take advantage of that.
Hell yeah, he will. Why not? I would too. Then would you then where does sex come into this? Do you suggest not having sex until you're in a relationship? No, I don't suggest that. Oh, okay.
Because, I don't believe in casual sex. That's just me. Mm-hmm. It works for some people. It has worked, in the past. You know what I'm saying? I was young. I did some stupid things. I made some mistakes.
We all did.
I've had sex on the first date.
Mm-hmm,
I've done that. And in a couple of cases, that has actually ended up in a marriage as well. Mm-hmm. So sex plays a very important role in a relationship. It's just not the most important role. But it depends on who you ask. If you ask a woman, it's not as important. But if you ask a man, it's very important.
Okay. So I'm not sure I quite understand your question. I mean, your answer Okay, so you're saying that it's okay to have sex even though the guy has not yet said we're in a relationship?
Well, I don't believe in casual sex myself. I really don't. But like I said, it works for some people. Okay. I, however, will say that you should wait until you're in a committed relationship, or at least until you've developed feelings for each other. Not necessarily to say, because, sometimes you can have that thing where you get together and enjoy each other's company or whatever, and maybe it's okay that you don't have a commitment. Mm-hmm. But me personally, I don't believe in casual sex. So have I done it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. We all have.
Yeah,
because, you said that in the book, you said men fall in love based off of sex. So why do you mean by that? Because I've always thought that they didn't fall in love just because of the sex.
Oh, yeah. Men fall in love based off of how good it is, what they're getting from, what they're getting from you. Mm-hmm. We fall in love based off our emotions.
Yeah.
Men, and the better it is, the man will want, but not to say the better it is that he'll want to spend more time with you, but a man wants a woman who can please him sexually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And men marry women who can please them sexually.
But he's not going to marry her just because she can please him sexually.
Oh, no, definitely not. Because at the end of the day, there has to be something else to keep him there.
Okay.
You have to have something else in common.
So then are you saying then that, let's do the opposite then. If everything else is there, but the sex is just so that he may not want to marry her?
Well, see, it just really all depends. Mm. It just, every case is different. Everything is, every case is different. But, to a man, it is important. That is a very important part of a relationship is the sex. And he's going to make a lot of decisions based off the sex.
Damn. Okay.
And that's just being honest. He's going to make a lot of decisions based off the sex and how good it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also...
Because you know how men always say that initially we do stuff to get them and then afterwards we just kind of like back off of it,
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, okay. I get it. So they're saying that if you don't continue to please them sexually, then they're going to be making decisions off of that.
Well, they make decisions, not necessarily. They make decisions on whether or not, I guess the decisions that they make off of whether or not they enjoy their sexual encounters with you. They make decisions off of that.
Okay. I feel like
Am I confusing you?
Yeah, I know. I feel like we're having. I feel like we're having a cryptic conversation in code here. I'm like, okay, whatever you say.
I'm not meaning to confuse you.
Yeah, because you know why? Because, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Pat Allen. She's, a wonderful marriage and family counselor. She said, men marry virtue, not vagina, meaning that, it's the woman's being virtuous and having all those other qualities they look for in a wife, as opposed to just having great sex. And so that's why. Now, I do believe that. They do, you have to have those other qualities too. It's not going to be just based on the sex. You can get good sex. He can get good sex without marrying you, Right. So, you have to have those other qualities as well. But you can have those other qualities and the sex is not good. And chances are he won't marry you. That's it for me. See, I'm confused because I know this one guy who was like this player. And then he met this woman, and he thought she was the one, so he started doing all these things, whatever. And then he found out she was actually seeing her ex, so they broke up. And he was like totally heartbroken. And he was like devastated. He couldn't go to work. He had to go to a therapist, blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, I'm like, how is it? And well, she really got to him because he wanted to marry her. And I go, how was the sex? And he goes, it was okay. He didn't say it was great. He just said it was okay. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I'm sounding confused because,
Right. Well, like I said, every situation is different. Maybe she offered him something that he was, looking for more than just that.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
every situation is different.
Okay. Moving right along. You said that when a woman has sex with a man that she loves, the experience is more ethereal and spiritual. That sounds wonderful. Can you explain that?
Well, like I said, we romanticize everything. When we're in love, the sex is better. It doesn't necessarily mean the sex is good, but when we're in love and our feelings are involved, the sex is better for us.
Okay.
So.
But what about the ethereal spiritual part? Like, how does it feel?
It's
Can you even explain it? I know I'm asking really the tough questions here today.
It just feels like you're connected on that level. On that level that's up there. Mm-hmm. When you're really into it, and it's not just you acting off of your lust or whatever. It's just it has that higher level that
right.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to get that spiritual connection, that chemistry. It's there. Everything is on point.
I understand. I know. I'm just trying to get you. I'm trying to get you to explain it since you wrote the book, not me.
Right.
Yeah. No. I
also put in there if you've been there, you know it.
Right.
And if you haven't, you should desire to be there.
Exactly. So then one more sex question. What do men want in bed, generally?
Pretty much. A man wants a woman he can let his inhibitions go and just be himself and be able to open up and just reveal who he really is and what he really wants. The problem that I hear from a lot of women is that, let's just take masturbation, for example. Mm-hmm. Now, I even put that in the book. Men are going to masturbate. I've had a lot of women come to me and say, oh, okay, well, what should I do? How should I handle that? I'm really upset because he'll get up, he'll leave me, and he'll go into another room and he'll masturbate. Well, you got to accept the fact that men are going to do this. So if he's going to do it, why not be a part of that? Why not make him feel comfortable enough that he can do that in front of you? It shouldn't be a problem. So he wants a woman that he can actually just let go and do what comes natural and not have to worry about being judged about what he wants to do or what his fantasies are.
Right. So it's a woman that accepts whatever crazy fantasy he may have.
Absolutely. As long as it doesn't kind of like compromise her. If it doesn't compromise you, if it's not something you're just totally uncomfortable with, I would go, I would go for it.
Right.
But if it's something you're against, if he wants something that you're just absolutely against, hey, don't do it. And let him know why.
Exactly.
But that's what he wants. He wants somebody that he can be comfortable with and just totally let it go. Act out his fantasies if that's what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now you wrote that, something I've always known, but I know a lot of women don't, and that is that women control most of the power in a relationship. So what do you mean by that?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
because
we do.
Actually nothing happens in a relationship until we allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
A man can't connect with you on any level unless you allow him to. So, and most of the time, if you look at the situation, men feed off of our reaction. They feed off of a woman's feelings, what she's feeling at the time, and they kind of structure themselves around that. That is if he cares anything about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
What do you mean he feeds off of her reactions?
Let's just say, let me give you an example.
Okay.
You wake up in the morning with your man, and, you're having a bad day. He knows how to relate to you based off how you're feeling. So he kind of feeds off you. That's why I say women really control most of everything in the relationship. We have the power in the relationship. We control that. And most of the time, a man is going to try to cater to you. If he's happy with you,
mm-hmm.
and he wants to keep you happy, he's going to cater to you.
Okay. All right. Like try to, give you what you want.
Absolutely.
Give in.
Right.
Okay. And then, of course, men want women to feed their ego. We all know that.
Of course.
So...
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. Oh, man.
It's probably the biggest.
Probably. Because everything that happens, they want to feel like they're the man.
Uh-huh.
Just how I put it in the book, like they're the man. If you can make your man feel like he's the man, there's absolutely nothing he will not do for you.
And then so what are some things that women can do or say to make him feel like the man?
Let's just say...
give us some examples from your
I
life.
believe okay, just to give you an example, let's just say he takes care of things that needs to be taken care of without you having to say anything about it. Praise him for that. Hey, if he cut the lawn, hey, my lawn is beautiful. I have the most beautiful lawn in the neighborhood, honey. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you and everything that you do for me. That makes a man feel appreciated,
mm-hmm.
and that's important to him. The more you appreciate him, the more he'll do for you.
So you have to be like super bubbly and super excited about any little thing he does?
And I know, isn't it tiring? Wouldn't that just totally exhaust you?
Yes. Hell yeah.
I am serious. I hear that from women because they're just like, well, Glenda, I do all these things that you tell me to do, and then he sits around and he doesn't care about what he looks like, but you want me to look like this, and, I hear that.
Yeah.
So I do understand, and I know that we have it hard because we have so many things going on. We work, we take care of kids, and then we still have to make time to make ourselves this sexual goddess and vixen in order to please him and take care of him. It can be totally exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
It can be. I do understand.
Right.
But, sometimes you have to make those sacrifices.
Okay. But in terms of building his
not all the time, but sometimes you have to make those sacrifices.
I know there's feminists listening to this tearing their hair out right now.
I know. Oh, I know. I had a couple of incidents that happened with a lady who was editing my book, and she kind of yeah. So needless to say, I had to get rid of her.
Wow.
But, yeah, really. Because she was just like, why should I do this? I'm independent. I can take care of myself. Yes, you can. But if you're that independent and you can take care of yourself and you don't need to make your man feel loved and appreciated, you're right. You don't need a man.
Exactly. But she does want one. She's just acting like
Absolutely.
She doesn't want one.
And it's just like anything else. Sometimes you have to go above and beyond. And I'm not saying this is not a game. It's not a joke or anything. I mean, this is just being perfectly honest and perfectly real. Sometimes you have to go above and beyond. You're not manipulating anybody. You're just appreciating the person that you have in your life. And if you have a good man, why wouldn't you do it?
Right. And also one of the ways that you know that a guy really appreciates you is if he's willing to go the extra mile also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're not getting that in return, you're right. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't cater to someone who's not giving you that same respect at all.
Yeah, I think that's the problem that, women, they do they put out all this stuff, they do all this stuff, and then they're not getting equal return. And then that's when they figure, why should I even do this? Because I'm not getting anything back.
That's true. That is so true. I agree.
So what are some signs then that a man is in love?
Some signs are if he likes to spend time with you and outside of the bedroom, not just come over to have sex and, after he's done everything else he wants to do during the day, he comes over at night and has sex with you. No, that's absolutely not it. He should be, wanting your company.
In the daytime.
Wanting to go out and spend time with you. Does he take you out, show you off? Do you know his friends and his family? If he has children, does he want you to be a part of his life? You know when a person wants you to be a part of their life and when they don't, so.
Exactly.
Does he take care of you? If you're sick, is he concerned about you? Does he cater to you? Does he, make sure you have the things you need, whether it's chicken soup or your medicines or whatever? Does he care about you enough to make sure you have gas in your vehicle? Guys who really love you, they show you that. It's not just about, thinking about you, bringing you flowers, some small gift or token every once in a while. Those are some things that he does when he really loves you.
Don't you find that usually you can tell from the little things that they do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes the little things mean more.
Yes, because they don't have to do those little things, but they do them because they love you. Because I know one time a guy, he was like, I was putting up a shelf in the bathroom, and the guy had to put it up for me before. It was rickety. So he went to the hardware store and blah, blah. He was working on it to get it done right. And I was like, wow. And he's like, yes, I want to show you that I'm really good at home at working in things inside the home.
Well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing there.
Yeah, it's like he wanted to show me that he was husband material. He can fix the.
Hey, you know what? And we want to know that. We do. We want to know that. We want to know that he has the potential to be, a good husband. And another thing I like to tell women is that you have to really observe a person that you're dating, because a man who is not a responsible man or boyfriend is not going to be a responsible husband. Mm-hmm. You have to look at everything, watch how he pays his bills, just be really observant about, how he lives.
Exactly.
If he has kids, does he take care of them? There's a lot of things that go into that. A lot of times we'll just want a man so bad it doesn't matter. We'll deal with that as it comes.
Right. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But these are things that you need to know beforehand.
Right.
And another thing I always tell women, especially young women, date. It's okay. Don't let anybody make you feel like, you're a tramp or whatever, just because you want to get out and you want to date multiple guys. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go out, because that's how you learn what you like and what you want. Because that was my problem when I first got married the first time. I had no idea what marriage was about. I had no idea what I was looking for. I had no preset expectations, none of that. It was just like, I thought that, we were supposed to get married, live happily ever after, and that was it, and it's so far from that,
Okay, so then now that you've been married five times, tell us, what is marriage all about?
Wow. a lot of hard work.
Ugh,
a lot of hard work,
terrible.
A lot of communication.
What do you mean hard work?
Not to say that you won't disagree,
right.
But you have to be willing to come to a resolution. And I think if both parties are willing to work on it, there should be no problems whatsoever. But normally, when there starts to be issues, somebody's not willing to work on it. And it just felt, in my situation, it felt like I just to say that my problem, especially when I was younger, is that I'm very impatient. You know, I had no patience whatsoever.
Right.
Anytime something wasn't working to my satisfaction, I had no problem walking away. I'm very independent. I take care of myself. I always have. And it's like if something wasn't working or if I wasn't satisfied with something, I would just walk away rather than, continue to keep trying to beat my head up against a wall to try to get somebody to work with me to fix the problem.
And so then as time passed, did you realize that maybe you shouldn't be walking away so quickly?
Absolutely. I mean, now I'm willing to, if it's worth it, you know, and I feel like if I really love someone, which I'm willing to work at it. I'm willing to stick in there, and if it's not compromising me, if I'm not the one that's making all the compromises, why shouldn't I? Because it's too easy to walk away.
Oh, yeah.
That's the easy thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
But
now, I'm not saying that you should be mistreated and just stay there and, stay in an unhealthy relationship that's not working. I'm not telling you that you should just stay in there and make it work, because there are some things that I won't deal with. And the biggest thing that I hear from people is cheating. Well, he's a player. He did this. I found out he cheated on me. Let me tell you, I haven't been cheated on since I was in my early 20s.
Woo!
And, I haven't suspected any of my exes of cheating on me at all. And women, normally we suspicious,
yes,
something's kind of off. We have that radar
We're
that
always
just kind of like, hey, goes off.
Right.
Whether we actually find out if it's true or not, you know what I'm saying? But we will be suspicious. But I haven't been cheated on since I was in my early 20s. And I guess the thing is, I kind of changed my dating strategies and my principles. You know what I'm saying? I realized that I define my relationships, and my relationships don't define me. So that simply means that I determine what type of relationship I will have. I determine the type of man I will allow in my life, my heart, my body. And like I said, most women complain that their men cheat or he's a manipulator. I just recently heard a lady who was like, okay, well, I found out he was dating 3 other women. Well, you didn't just know he was dating 3 other women after you had sex with him. If you did, then shame on you. I mean, you should have seen some of the signs, some of the red flags, because they're always there. Like I said, we just make excuses for them, or we try to justify it. We find reasons to make up for his bad behavior.
Okay, and so you got mentioned this cheating thing. So why do you think that you haven't been cheated on?
Because now I guess my selection process,
Okay.
You know how, I'm trying to give you an example of something. Let's just say, for example, you're with a guy, or you meet a guy, and he tells you he's gonna call you at a certain time. Hey, you're gonna hear from me today, or I'm gonna come over today, and he never shows up. And then the next day, it's like you say, you don't hold him accountable for the fact that, okay, you just stood me up last night, and you just, if you're okay with it, he's gonna continue that behavior. I don't deal with that. I mean, I really don't. Like I said, I define my relationship. I already know from the very beginning, when you start displaying signs of just, unconcerned, nonchalant, if you don't care,
right.
If you can't call me when you say you're going to call, if,
right.
You start breaking dates or standing me up, I mean, you already know that. So, I mean, I don't allow people like this into my life. So when I start to see the signs, it's okay for me to say, hey, you know what? I'd rather not be a part of this, because I want somebody who's going to treat me with respect. I deserve to have goodness in my life, and I want somebody who is worthy of that.
Wow. I think that's probably one of the most important things you've said today, because I think that's really the key, because if you pick the wrong guy, there's no way you're going to get a proposal in 365 days or less.
Absolutely. That is so true.
Right. So, yeah, it's the selection process. Before you have sex with him, watch the little things, and if they don't, he can't.
Watch those things.
Yeah, if he can't keep his
right.
word.
If he starts to break dates, hey, you don't want to be a part of that, and just tell him. Just be honest and say, hey, you know what? I think you and I are on 2 different wavelengths. Hey, I'm going to have to step back and let you do your thing, and I will find somebody who can treat me better. The world is full of men, good men, So, I mean, you don't have to get so fixated on one that you got to have him in your life. And I think that is our problem,
yes.
because, when we know somebody's not good for us and we're in a relationship and it's already too late, we're in this relationship, we don't want to look like a failure. We don't want to look like, oh, wow, she's single again. You know, we don't want to look like that. So rather than do that, and we know this is such a great person, he's such a great catch, we want to hold on to him at all costs. And you shouldn't want that. If he's not taking care of your needs, what you're needing from the relationship, not taking care of your heart, why should you want to be with him?
That's right.
And I had to use that. You know, I think about that. You know, why should I?
Right.
Why should I continue to put myself in a situation and be somewhere and somebody's not giving me what I need? That's important.
So then is that the point?
Somebody's not taking care of my heart.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, why be in a relationship if someone's not going to take care of your needs and your heart? That's the point of being in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, you know, obviously, 19 proposals. The world is full of good men. Full. And there's somebody out there who wants exactly what you want.
Well, send some of those 19 guys over here.
They're out there. They are out there. Wonderful men.
Yeah. So then,
and we have to stop being so critical too. You know, another thing is, you know, we'll go down our list. And I always say, do make a list of what you want, what your expectations are, you know, from your man in your relationship. But don't be so hard and go down that list and say, I want a man that's this, and you know, I don't like yellow and he wears yellow. You know, don't be so critical and don't just discredit a man for something real basic and real simple. You use your list as a guide. You know, you don't have to stick to it so hard, but know what you want in your life. Know what your non-negotiables are. Hey, if you don't smoke, hey, if you don't want a non-smoke, don't get with a smoker. You know, it's simple things that end up being a problem because, you know, that's going to turn into an issue later on.
Right. So then how long do you think that women should wait for a proposal before moving on? I mean, if they start to see the signs that it's not going to work, should they just...
Right. Now, I always say at least give it a year, but I'm not so tied down to that timeline because, you know, I've never had to. I'll go, you know, maybe a year and a half, you know, I would. And if you don't see some sign, if he doesn't start talking in terms of we and us and our, you know, and a future, and if you don't hear these things coming out of his mouth, if you hear him say stuff like, well, you know, 2 years from now, I might move to so-and-so. I might. You know, if you start hearing this, I think when he starts to talk about the future, you already know. He's not thinking about a future with you. So, I mean, if you give it a year and a half, and you don't see some kind of sign, if he's not making some kind of effort to show you that he really wants you in his life, I think it's time to move on.
All right. Well,
and, you know, and some women, you know, a man will stay with you as long as you let him, as long as he's still getting the goodies.
Absolutely.
So he'll stay with you as long as you allow it. I have a girlfriend who's been engaged for 9 years.
Oh, my God.
I mean, come on. It doesn't take a man 9 years to know if he wants to marry you. And if he's taking that long, he's still shopping. He's just making sure that, you know, just in case something better comes along, he can still jump and go for it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we've finished the radio show for today, but we're actually going to continue. I know, time flies when you're having fun, but I'm actually going to have Glenda on my web TV show in a few weeks, and of course I'll be announcing that on my newsletter and my Facebook page and all that, and I'll have even more questions. I'm going to be grilling her even more.
I like that. I like that.
So study up, Glenn. But thank you so much for being on. I know we helped a lot of women today, and hopefully we'll all be engaged in a year or less.
Well, I'll be better prepared, and my phone won't keep ringing like it did at the beginning of the show here.
Oh, okay.
My phone kept ringing off the hook, and I was like,
sure.
okay.
Yeah, all those men are calling you. So
no, please don't say that.
Get you in trouble with your guy.
I know.
Oops. So, well, they can't forget you, you know. All right, so the book is called How to Get Him to Put That Ring on Your Finger in 365 Days or Less with Glenda Wallace. Thank you so much for being on, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks on the web TV show.
Well, thank you for having me, and we'll talk soon.
Hell yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Okay, take care. Bye.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye. All right. Well, things started to really spruce up at the end there. She really got into it even more once her phone stopped ringing. But I have some more questions to ask her, and that will be on the web TV show, and the link for that is on my website, theartoflove.net. You can also sign up for my free weekly newsletter at the same page, and also get a link to my book, Lucia's Lessons of Love. I don't know why I'm emphasizing the last word. I'm trying to sound like a radio announcer. And I guess that's it. So thank you so much for joining me this week. And I expect that we'll all be engaged in 1 year or less. Yes? Let me know. Okay. And until next time, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.
You're listening to The Art of Love with your host, Lucia, right here on LA Talk Radio.